Hello, my name is Zealand, and I'm a professional football manager player. Ladies, please. I'm going to answer the internet's most searched questions about Football Manager. And I'm going to be doing it inside of the best browser on the internet. It's the same as every other browser on the internet, except it just has a lot of other cool features that make your life better and are awesome. It's called Opera GX, and you can download it at the link in the description. Or you can keep watching for a second to see all the cool things you can do inside of Opera GX. There's background music you can change and get down to. You can set a new sound for every time you open a tab. And of course, you can adjust what this background is. I just am using a mod that's like the football mod. And the mods are incredibly helpful because the amount of customization on Opera GX can be incredibly overwhelming. But let's say I wanted to use the lo-fi chill mod instead of the football mod. I can select all the different parts of the lo-fi chill mod I want, and now we have a lo-fi chill vibe. Whatever that means. And there's a ton of these things. There's a huge mod store with a bunch of official mods and community-created mods that, let's say your favorite game is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, there's an entire mod that will re-texture and re-sound your entire browser. And of course, if any of these things are annoying, like the background music, you can just turn them off. Opera GX also has generative AI. AI is built into the browser itself. And if you ask it, what's that YouTuber who talks about Football Manager? It says, the Football Manager Show, which is a podcast by The Athletic, Football Manager's official YouTube channel, and for some reason, Tom FM's channel, which I'm not offended by. And for me, the most intimidating thing about moving to a new browser is because I have a ton of bookmarks on my old browser, but there is an importer tool that works flawlessly to move all of your bookmarks over like that. So if you want to upgrade your browser game and open up a world of unlimited customization, switch to Opera GX and check out the link in the description. And thank you to them for sponsoring this video. So is Football Manager free? No. But a lot of people seem to think that is the case because they will DM me asking for a free copy. I don't know how many free copies you guys think I have of Football Manager. I usually have about 4 to give away every year, and we give those away like immediately, and that's it. And those come from like stores, not even Football Manager itself. Is Football Manager on PS4? Yes, it is on console, and if that makes it more accessible to you, then do it. Is Football Manager good? Yes and no. So Football Manager is clearly way better than other football simulation games that exist on the market. A lot of people that end up playing Football Manager, like me, come from what is like the EAFC FIFA career mode vibe, and then that gets too easy, and then you want to go over to Football Manager. So in that sense, Football Manager is good. I think when you compare Football Manager to other like high-level big production studios sports games, it is lacking in certain areas, things like graphics, but I'm assuming we're going to talk about that more at some point in this video. That has to be something the internet's looked up. Is Football Manager fun? No. Football Manager is a game that is very brutal. It is like playing poker. You can do everything right and still lose, and it's impossible to do everything right in the first place. And so it is a game that really beats you up, and for certain people that's super rewarding. But is Football Manager a game that you drop into like Assassin's Creed and have fun right away? No, you just get addicted. Is Football Manager worth it? Not always. I'm assuming you're talking about whether it's like worth buying the game. If you don't have any Football Manager, yeah, it's worth buying the game. It's what you hope that it's going to be. You hope that when you're getting Football Manager, it's going to be, this game that can go on forever into the future and properly simulate like the footballing world. And in a large part, it does do that. But if you want to buy Football Manager every year, most of the time, I think it's not worth it. Football Manager suffers from what every yearly sports game seems to suffer from, and that sometimes the updates suck, or sometimes the year's previous match engine, which is done, which does the simulations, the actual matches, is better and doesn't have as many flaws in it, and they try and make changes to improve the game and end up making it worse. So is it worth it every year? No. But it is worth it if you've never bought it before. Is Football Manager 2024 worth it? Yes. Yeah, Football Manager 2024 is better than last year's game and is a worthy upgrade. It is the last year before the game moves on to something called the Unity engine, which is like an actual modern graphics engine for a video game. So I believe Miles Jacobson, the guy that makes the game, he said that this was some sort of homage to the old ways of Football Manager before it gets upgraded into the modern era. And I think they did a good job of that. I've really enjoyed playing FM24. Is Football Manager crossplay? Yes and no. So if you're playing on Mac or like Steam and Epic Store on a computer or whatever, all of that is crossplay as long as it's on a PC, but PCs and consoles can't play together because they're technically different versions of the game. But between everything on a computer and between everything on different consoles, it is crossplay. The only thing worth doing with that is, of course, Fantasy Draft, though, so. All right, next panel thing. What is Football Manager? Touch. Football Manager Touch is a version of Football Manager that is a little more watered down. They take out certain features. I haven't played Football Manager Touch in like 4 or 5 years, but they streamline the game a little bit, like they make it more accessible. It's a great starter version of the game where you can play that and get yourself into the full game. It's really hard to get into, but it also makes it easier to run on things like console. What is Football Manager? How is that the second question? I feel like that should be the first question, but what is Football Manager is a football simulation game that in an indescribable way worms its way. I think it comes in through like the eye and then gets into your brain and then actually takes it over to the point that Football Manager, I'm pretty sure, like if you went to the top of my brain stem, there would just be like an F and an M like tattooed on there, like some sort of cattle brand. It is an insanely addictive game that is also, it's like a sandbox game. You can make whatever challenge you want in it and just kind of go from there. That's kind of what I spend my whole life doing. What is Football Manager in-game editor? So the in-game editor is this thing that allows you to do a lot of that sandbox stuff. They charge you extra money for it, which is stupid. It's like $8 or something now. It used to be $5. Damn inflation, right? And they charge you the money for it, and then you can go in and just change a player's attributes. So if I'm just on Manuel Neuer and I wanted to make him have 1 jumping reach, I can just do that. That's what the in-game editor allows you to do. You can't change everything. There's a pre-game editor that comes with the game that allows you to actually make entirely new databases and change everything in the game. I use that for a lot of the videos that we make. And when I say use that, I mean I work with somebody that knows how to use it, because you need like a master's degree in just how to operate the dang pre-game editor. Does Football Manager need Wi-Fi? No, it does not. This is a solitary pursuit. It is a game for loners. It has an online version. I think it has a lot of potential as an online game, but it is really struggled to get the online portion of the game off the ground. There's like a fantasy draft thing that's fun with your friends. I've done it with my friends before, but no, if you're playing Football Manager, you don't need Wi-Fi, really ever. Does Football Manager have sound? Now, okay, there's no FIFA playlist dropping in on Football Manager. It has in-game sound, but I'm pretty sure I could hire a dude on Fiverr for like $50 to design in-game sound that would probably match up to it. I'm assuming with the upgrade to Unity, where they're really kind of prioritizing the in-match visual and I guess audio experience, maybe that's gonna level up, but it is really basic, like in-game sound. I still leave it on because it makes me feel like I'm in a match day experience, even if it makes me feel like I'm playing FIFA 08. Does Football Manager cost money? No. Completely free. Amazing. All you have to do is DM me. That's what I've heard. Does Football Manager autosave? Yeah, and you can change it, and it saves your life, because every once in a while the game corrupts. You should have post-match autosaves and 10-file rolling autosave, so that if the file corrupts at some point, you just keep going back until the file's not corrupted anymore. Next panel thing. Why is Football Manager so expensive? I don't know, dude. You gotta ask them. I am officially anti-yearly sports games. I think they just lead to a system that doesn't end up producing the best game possible. But to be fair, there are more expensive games out there. Football Manager usually runs you like $40. Why is Football Manager so hard? It's very hard. People lose touch with this all the freaking time. I am at risk of losing touch with this, right? Because I've played Football Manager like 10,000 hours in my life. Football Manager is a very high barrier to entry. That's why it's so hard. There's so many different aspects to the game that any single one of them can be the reason that you are failing if you're not doing them well enough. Now, is there a way to make a game like Football Manager easier? I would say yes, and that probably has to do with the visuals, right? Because you don't want to lessen the detail. That will make the game less fun for the people that play it a lot. But if you change the interface of Football Manager to make it feel more excessive, because I spent the first year I owned a Football Manager game literally just opening it and closing it, because this whole screen has so much information in it, it's completely overwhelming, and you just would open it and close it again. Why is Football Manager so addictive. It is. I've played so many games. I've been a gamer my whole life. Football Manager is the most addicting game I have ever played. And I think it's a combination of a couple things. One, anytime there's like a continue button or a next turn button, you just want to keep hitting that button over and over and over again because you can continue to like progress reality, right? You're like, oh, well, this thing's going on and I want to continue until that thing's done. By the time you get to that point, something else has started up that you want to see when that's done, whether it's a scouting report or a transfer negotiation or just, I really want to play this one particular match. Football Manager allows you to not have to wait for those matches. Like, you gotta wait to watch your team. I've gotta wait to watch the World Cup. But if I fire up Football Manager, I can simulate 100 World Cups, right? All of those storylines that you love if you watch football, soccer, they can be progressed as fast as you can hit the continue button in Football Manager. That wonder kid, Jamal Musiala's whole career can be played out in a week if you're addicted enough. And I'll add a third thing. It's so open-ended. Whatever part of strategy games or football or soccer that you love, you can just focus on that. It's a very, very open-ended game. You can do youth-only saves. You can start as the worst team in the whole game in the 6th Division of England. You can also start with a massive club and be playing for Champions Leagues. You can manage the Pakistani U23s and try and get them to the Olympics. You can do whatever you want, whatever's interesting to you. Why is Football Manager so popular? It's really popular because, like I said earlier in this video, it accomplishes what you hope that it does. It provides you this kind of unlimited potential to simulate and participate in the world of football. Why is Football Manager 2023 not on Steam? They only put the most modern version on there. That is just like an obvious kind of company move where you force people to buy the newest version of the game, but they only keep the newest version of Football Manager on Steam. Now, if you did buy the older version, then obviously it doesn't get removed from Steam. It's still there, but you can't like purchase FM23 if you didn't buy it before FM24 came out. See? It ain't there. Why is Football Manager so complicated? I mean, that's just a choice that they've made, right? It has a very, very high barrier to entry. Now, obviously, based off the addiction that I've had to the game for so long, I believe that it is worth it, but it took me a year and a half to get into it. And they should do a better job of helping people get into the game. But it's so complicated because they are pathologically determined in the studio to make it as realistic as possible. That is something that they take to a natural extreme, I feel like. Oh, the next one's why does Football Manager? I could guess the first one. Why does Football Manager... Oh, it's not what I thought. Okay, keep crashing. Why does Football Manager keep crashing? It does crash a lot. Football Manager is simulating a ton of stuff, and it just breaks sometimes. Now, if Football Manager is crashing on a certain day, that means that it's corrupted on that certain day. So like if every time you get to March 13th on Football Manager, it just freaking crashes, that's because that day was corrupted but a while ago. So like maybe on February 20th, March 13th, corrupted, basically. This is why I recommend that 10-file rotating autosave thing, because what it allows you to do is go back to a save before February 20th, then you just go on vacation and make sure that save can go through March 13th, then kind of reopen that save file again and play through. The game can also crash because you're overheating your computer. If you load every league in the game on said smart toaster, you'll melt the entire thing, right? Like, it takes a lot of processing power to try and run a ton of leagues. So it might be freezing up your computer because it's overheating your CPU too. Why does Football Manager take so long? Some version of this is what I thought it was gonna be. And that is that like people will get Football Manager and get really excited and load every player in the entire world. You need a supercomputer to run a save in Football Manager with every player in the entire world. A supercomputer. Because that's just so much simulation going on. And so if Football Manager is taking a long time to simulate, you just need to play with a smaller database. There's nothing inherently wrong with playing with a smaller database on Football Manager, but a lot of people will bite off more than their computer can chew, if that makes sense. Football Manager is too complicated. Look, if you are in the studio and you are watching this video, like if you're a part of the game design, we've established the big problem with Football Manager. It's really hard to get into. This is the problem with the game. It's very complex. Football Manager is rigged. Yes. Football Manager is rigged. You will lose to the worst team in the league while you're in a title chase. Your Wonder Kid will get upset nonsensically over some transfer offer you don't believe they should be upset on, and then your board will sell that Wonder Kid for way less money than you think you should get. Football Manager is rigged, And that's why it's so fun, because you have to overcome the incredible amount of pain the game attempts to inflict on you when somebody who hasn't scored a goal all year scores in the 93rd minute to beat you after you had 3 XG and they had 2 shots. Thank you, Internet. This was fun. Make the game less complicated. If you want to keep watching stuff, here's a video where I try and get people into Football Manager in just 10 minutes, which is difficult because the game is ridiculously complicated. Subscribe, please. I'll love you literally forever and ever.